You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. Let's quickly speak to Professor Solomon Nunu, who is UTAG National President and Dean, Office of Research, Innovation and Consultancy, UMAT, TAQUA. We're speaking to him very briefly to get a sense of the developments within UTAG. As we know,
can I respond to Ablakwa on what he has said?
Please hold on, Gary, hold on for me. Now, yes, Professor Nunu, thank you for your time on Newsfile.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. We have been monitoring yesterday, and it does appear that the decision that the National Executive Council took to suspend the strike is not carrying favor with your members across the country. So far, I think I've counted almost about 8 of your branches or 7 that have voted to reject the suspension. And then I think about 2 so far that have voted, or 1 that have voted to say that they agree with the suspension. What's the way forward? Are you really getting back in the classroom?
Yes, per our UTAG constitution, mainly once a strike action is suspended, we have to go back to the classroom and then go back to teaching. So whether a campus has voted against the suspension or for the suspension, all of us will go back to the classroom and go back to lecture. At the end of the referendum, we'll collect the results. After the collation, the next step is that if majority of the members do say that we need to continue with the strike action, then an extraordinary meeting of the National Executive Committee will have to be constituted to determine the date for the next strike action. So that is the case. And sometimes I must state that the suspension became necessary for us to do that so that we can go back to the table and negotiate. So if you'll notice, we gave ourselves up to next week Friday, which is still going to be within the period of 10 working days. We have to get this whole processes done. So the whole idea for us was to make sure we get the chance to go and negotiate. So if the negotiations go as planned, then there wouldn't be the need. But otherwise, then in that case, members would have already armed the National Executive Committee to continue with the strike action.
Yeah, so in this referendum that is going on in your branches, how many? 15 branches across the country? Or?
That's accurate, 15 branches.
Yes, and from the results we had by the evening of yesterday, University of Education Winneba voted to reject. University of Ghana voted to reject. Huge numbers voted to reject. University of Health and Allied Sciences, they are the only university I see from the list I have that voted to say you should stay. KNUST and the rest of them. Where do you stand this morning? How many have voted to confirm the suspension and how many reject the suspension of the strike?
So as at yesterday, we had 5 campuses voting to confirm, to reject the suspension, whereas 2 campuses had, 5 campuses have rejected the suspension, whereas 2 campuses have confirmed the suspension as at yesterday.
Okay.
This weekend and today and tomorrow, there wouldn't be any votes, but the rest of the campuses, I think about 8 of them, will have their voting done on Monday.
And what will be majority?
The majority, it's a simple majority, so we are looking at 8 campuses, and then we'll have to then decide on the dates for the next strike action.
Once you have 3 more campuses voting, rejecting the suspension, the strike continues.
That is accurate. But in that case, the National Executive Committee needs to have an extraordinary meeting to decide on the next date for the strike action to be continued.
And as it looks now, it definitely doesn't look good that the majority, of course, so far the majority, 7, 5 say we don't agree that we should go back to the classroom. Are you getting any overtures? Are you getting any, calls to get to avoid extending this strike, because the impact is bad?
Yes, it's exactly so. But for us, the most important thing in all of this is that if the conditions of service of the university teacher is improved upon, then there wouldn't be any need for us to be on strike. So definitely, once everything is done and then we get to the table, we started, we had our first engagement on Thursday. So after the engagement, we are going to meet again next week, Wednesday. So next week, Wednesday, that is planned to be an in-house campaign, so that Wednesday, Thursday, and possibly Friday, we have a continuous engagement in order to iron out whatever differences there are and to finalize things. If definitely whatever is offered to the university teacher is exactly what we are looking for, or is within the limits of what we are looking for, then there wouldn't be the need for us to be on strike. So it's also because
but I thought the court had ruled that you have been injuncted from continuing the strike.
That is accurate, but that doesn't stop us from starting a new strike if there's a need to.
Oh. Thank you very much. But from what we know, it's really bad. Parents and guardians are taking quite a hit. People have spent money. Their children have gone to school. Their wards have been in school, and there have not been any lessons, any teaching going on. Some of them have actually packed home. You know, this is not right. Something has to happen. Professor Solomon Nunu, UTAG National President and Dean, Office of Research, Innovation and Consultancy, UMAT Takwa. Thank you very much. Now, just some 1 minute each. Gary, first, let's hear from you, Gary.
Samson, let me use this opportunity to humbly appeal to UTAG to please go back to the classroom and to also engage government in its attempt for better conditions of service. I can feel the feeling of the students. If you were in school and school was on recess or on strike in this nature, our time at Mobile was struggle and all that. I know what we went through in the school. We are begging them, please. If we can humbly go back to the classroom once you engage government to get your pound of flesh. I think that would be
okay. And from the way I read their constitution, it may not even come down to majority of campuses, but majority of members, because that's what their constitution says. Once majority of members vote against, so as we stand, if they collate, they tally the actual votes, and it is the majority so far, then the vote is bad. Yes.
So I'm saying the general mood of the general mood of the country is that we are begging them, appealing to them to go back to the classroom once they engage government to ensure that whatever they think.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. In less than a minute. Sorry. Less than a minute. Last one to you. Less than a minute.
I mean, clearly things do not look good. It is obvious that the strike is not over at all. If you look at the trend, many of the lecturers, and these are intelligentsia, they are not convinced that the strike should end. I can only appeal to government to sit with them and meet them, and meet their demands, because
it took some eminent citizens to get them to take that decision. All right. I'm sorry, but we have run out of time.
And I hope the president himself.
We have run out of time. I'm very sorry. Leadership. Thank you so very much. My guests on the show have been Professor Kwejo Appiagyei Etua, School of Law, University of Ghana, Professor Kwesi Enin, Director, Faculty of Academic Affairs and Research, Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Gary Nimako Mafo, Member, Legal Constitutional Committee of the New Patriotic Party, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the MP, North Town, and Ranking Member, Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Dr. Theo Champong, Political Risk Analyst and Economist. We also heard from Professor Samuel Nunu, Solomon Nunu, UTAG National President and Dean, Office of Research, Innovation and Consultancy, University of Mines, Takwa. I'm Samson Ladia Nyenini. God willing, next week we come your way with another edition of Newsfile.